Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vegas Pulse. Stories from the back of the house. I'm your host, Ron Garrett. And right now we have another great guest to discuss basically things that go on in Las Vegas. Let me introduce you to Mr. Frankie Munoz. He's a band leader, a producer, a director, a singer. You dance, Frankie?
I do that too.
You do a little soft shoe, maybe?
Hard too.
A hard shoe.
Soft and hard.
The hard shoe. Well, growing up as a kid, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hard shoes around in those days. Where'd you grow up at, Frankie?
I came where all the stars came from, the Bronx.
Why is that? What's going on in the
'Cause we
Bronx?
had
Is it in
nothing
the
else-
water there or what?
We had nothing else to do but practice our talent.
Yeah.
You know, either if you wasn't into basketball, you had to be into something else. And I was into the music scene since elementary school. I was in orchestras, trumpets, drums, learned all the instruments. I was declared a musical genius. And as a young age, I was introduced to Johnny Mathis, and I fell in love with his voice. And I was the type of kid that can do any voice. But Johnny was a unique voice, and it took me a long time to get. And I wanted to become a tribute artist of his. So in my teens, went to my 20s and 30s, I was singing Johnny's music for a long time, not as long as he has. And I come a long way. I started out with tracks, and then I started out with bands, and then recent 2 years I moved up to orchestra. So we're getting somewhere.
When did you move to Las Vegas? I'm sorry.
I moved to Las Vegas in 1996. I came here.
96, so you've been here almost 30 years.
I came here to produce my show.
Where were you coming from before you got here?
Well, originally from New York, and then I
the Bronx, but
stayed in California for a little bit, and then I came here to produce my show. And my first
what
show
was
was
that?
at the Aladdin,
Oh.
1996. We did our first show with Showgirls. We didn't have the big band yet.
what was it called?
Tribute to Majestic Voices.
Mhm.
Tribute to Majestic Voices is about some of the greatest singers. It's not just me. There's quite a few others that I allow in my show. But Johnny Mathis is the star.
Well, you're known as the premier Johnny Mathis tribute artist in the country.
Well, thank you very much.
And you do him better than he does him.
No,
these
I
days.
don't do it. There's an old saying: a slave is
But
never
you also
a slave is never greater than his master.
Well, that's true.
He's the master.
You also have the Salvadorian Orchestra,
Yes,
which is a big band. What, 30 pieces, 35 pieces?
It's an orchestra, and we for the last 2 years we put together an orchestra with some of the greatest musicians. I even had some of Johnny Mathis's musicians, a couple of his players, and we did our first show in one of the banquet halls here, and it was so great. We had some excellent other singers as well.
Who'd you have?
We had Bianca Orsi and
A marvelous opera singer, Bianca Orsi.
she brought the house down.
Yeah.
She made the orchestra look so good. They weren't even powerful enough for her, I was told. So the next time we get in rehearsals, we're going to make it more powerful. But we had a Johnny Mathis tribute. We had a Sammy Davis tribute. We had Bianca. She was doing some of the great opera songs, and she made a few people cry with such a powerful voice and with a powerful orchestra behind her. So our goal is we're not like Legends. Legends is a great show, but we're more into vocals of great singers. I mean, great.
More of a concert style.
Concert style, dinner, black tie. You can't get in the door unless you have a tux on.
Tuxedo,
Can't come
great
in raggedy.
dinner. Yeah.
And we give, a great dinner. We have an open bar and nice hosts that come and help you whatever you need. And we enjoy the evening. We bank with great food, and we have such great entertainment.
When you first came to Vegas and you started going around, let's go back of the house. What kind of resistance did you get for booking your act?
None.
None?
None. Everyone loved Johnny Mathis.
That's right. So who'd you approach at the Aladdin to get that?
I went to the director. I don't remember his name. It was a million years ago.
Yeah,
But
there's been a bunch of them, by the way. So
I went to the director and I rented out the hall, the auditorium, and we did our show and we had a great time. But we've done our show in many places.
did you get paid that, or did you four-wall that show at the Aladdin?
Everything's a four wall,
Everything. So you self-produced it.
self-produced, right?
What's that like?
Well, you gotta
You
save
take
up.
let me just add this. You take a big chance when you do that. Not only are you responsible to pay everybody, but people need to make money. Four Walls now is very much part of the Vegas scene. Personally, when I was the entertainment director of several properties, last being the Sahara, I didn't want it. I wanted to pay my acts. Therefore, I could tell them what to do. If they four-wall, or give them advice, if they four-wall, it's their show. So you four-walled at the Aladdin back in 1996.
Well, they can't pay me enough. If I was to be in Legends in concert, I'm sorry, I'm just too much of an entrepreneur. I need to make money, you know what I mean? And I need to have the proper sound. I'm not looking for karaoke and a little 10-cent band. I'm looking for action. I'm looking for feeling. I want to reach people. I want them to feel the music. We don't just do music. We have beautiful showgirls that are over almost 6 feet tall. We have dancers. We have an extravaganza. You might say my show is like a circus, but it's
One of the shows you had,
there's no animals, just
no
humans.
animals.
No animals.
One of the shows you had featured a tribute to Bruno Mars.
We had Bruno Mars. We have a lot of different people. We have Bruno Mars, great opera singers, and more. And we're going to be doing lots of different stars and so forth. Now, these are not just 10-cent singers. These are the best of the singers, just as good as the artists. When you do Johnny Mathis, you got to sound like Johnny Mathis. It takes years to do it. It doesn't happen overnight. And the payoff is you get to reach people. I had one lady, I did a show, and I did a Johnny Mathis song. It was a very emotional song. And she was on her way out. She was dying. And she didn't want to let go. But when she heard me sing, a week later, her son told me she let go of life. And she told her son to thank me, and I released her from her pain. So I like to touch people's hearts. I like to, if they have to cry, cry, let it out.
We'll be right back with more. That's a great story. We're going to hear more about it. We're speaking with Frankie Munoz, and he's a producer, a director, a singer. He's just about everything. Been in Vegas for 30 years and has some other stories that we'll be chatting about here in just a minute. But we'll be right back right after this. And we're back on Vegas Pulse, stories from back of the house. I'm your host, Ron Garrett, and with me is Frankie Munoz, a very accomplished entertainer here in Las Vegas. And we're talking about four-walling and your history. Have you always four-walled?
My entire life.
So that's the way you make money. But, I learned that the producers do all the work. They have to be their own stagehands sometimes. They spend all the money. But they don't make a lot doing these things because it's expensive to do. But you're comfortable in that role as a four-waller.
Well, I like to be independent, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I've always been a generator of money. I like to do my own shows because I can make as much money as I want. If I make nothing, okay, fine. If I make a lot, great. More musicians. I like to support musicians. This town today, they don't really support musicians because they pay them lowball figures. But when I first came here, they were paying high figures. But now, a lot of them have to leave this town to go into other countries and play to make a living. My job is to help the community, to hire musicians, to let them work for my orchestra. I hire dancers. I hire showgirls. I even had a midget in my show. When I did my first show, I had contortionists, acrobats. When I came to Vegas, I came here to learn. And I studied all the shows. I went to Siegfried and Roy, Splash, all of them, and I stole all their secrets and then embedded it in my show. Because when I have a show, I want people to be entertained. I want them to feel something, not just come to a place where they're just playing music and that's it. You can go anywhere for that. But I want them, when they leave, like the last show we did, I invited a couple of my bankers to come, and they saw my show, and they haven't stopped talking about it for a whole year. So that's what I want people to feel. I want them to feel the propensity of the music, the propensity of beautiful voices, the propensity of beautiful dancers and showgirls, and so forth.
You brought the bankers in to see a great show, so maybe they would help with future shows. Is that why? You brought
never
in the
know.
money guys,
I brought in the money. Well,
and they loved it.
I brought in the employees of my bank, and I brought in a lot of people, and they loved the show.
They loved it.
And the last show we did with the Bruno Mars tribute act,
Right.
we had great reviews. Everyone was saying, "Oh my God, it's a beautiful show. It should be on the Strip," and that's what we're striving more to build up dollars so that we can. It's expensive. It's very expensive to rent an orchestra, musicians. It's very expensive to pay showgirls.
Let me ask you that
It's
question.
a great payoff.
Let me ask you that question without revealing any secrets. What do musicians get paid these days? Let's say you're high. I don't want you to reveal any secrets, but this is the back of the house stuff. What do they get paid? What are they being paid?
Well, I like to be.
A drummer or a guitar player or
I
a bass
paid them
player?
all the same. I like to be reasonable with them, and I just come out with a figure, and I'll say, well, everybody, you have 200 for
200
an
a
hour
show?
and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know what the union scale is, but everybody was happy.
Probably
No one
more.
beat me up. Okay, everybody. I
Well,
paid
those
them.
days of getting beat up by the union people are over. There may be a remnant here and there, but basically over.
No, you have to take care of your musicians because musicians talk. And if you don't take care of them, you can, develop a bad name. So you want to have a good name with your musicians, and you pay them, reasonable.
A reasonable
and they're
amount, yeah.
happy. You feed them. You tell them you love them. I had some great musicians. I loved my trombone player, French horns. I like to hear these things in music. And Johnny Mathis's music, he's not just a love song singer. He's an action singer. You have to hear some of his action songs. Begin, They Begin, Brazil. These songs are like powerful with all types of interesting music and instruments. And you dance to it and you feel alive,
What's your favorite Johnny Mathis, besides Misty, which everybody loves?
Well, that's his.
Which one do you like
Well,
to
that's
do?
Johnny's signature song.
Yes, it is.
And guess what?
That's your favorite?
It's my signature song.
Can you give us a little bit?
I'm not gonna do any
All right,
singing
all right.
on the. I met Johnny.
Well, yes, I'm just forewalling.
I got you.
Here's $2.
I met Johnny
Just kidding.
about 10 years ago, personally, and I was so excited. I've seen all his shows in New Jersey, and finally I saw some of them here in Vegas, and he was a little younger, about 15 years younger, and he was such a gentleman, and he gave me his great personal autograph, and I was just so elated, and I felt like I've accomplished something just touching his hand and shaking hands and giving a hug.
He's definitely an icon.
He's
I
one
recently-
of the greatest men in my whole life.
I just recently saw a PBS special
Mhm.
with Johnny Mathis. It looked like it was maybe 1 or 2 years ago, but he still has it. It was great. I couldn't take my eyes off the entire show.
Well, I give him all the credit because I listened to him for decades, and I learned and studied his voice, and I've sung like him so much that I've become him in the vocal part.
How long does your set go when you're up there?
It varies. I can do up to 10 songs, 3 songs, 4 songs, but I don't like to hog the stage anymore because I don't want to do all the work. It's bad enough I have to put the show together, get all the musicians. Hey, I'm happy with 3 songs and I'm off.
Yeah, I remember when I was helping my good friend Tony Sacca, who's
I remember
passed
Tony.
away, putting shows together, and someone came up to Tony and says, "What's it like to be the producer?" He says, "You do all the work and you don't make any money. Breaking even is making money." When we were producing those shows at the Windows showroom at Bally's, now the Horseshoe. Why aren't you on the Strip? Why are you working these banquet halls?
I have been on the Strip, and
I mean currently.
oh, yes. Well, it's very expensive to go on the Strip.
Yes, it is.
It's not. All the celebrities have moved in now, and it's very hard to get those rooms. And you got to go up in the millions to get those rooms. So I'm happy for what I can get, and I'm happy to help my community, and I'm happy to make people happy. I love feeding them and watching them mix and mingle, dance, smile. When you listen to Bianca, the great opera singer, she makes you cry. I even enjoy watching people cry because I know we're doing our job.
That's correct. You're looking very dapper
Well,
today.
thank you very much,
We're going to come back here in just a minute and discuss who your stylist is. I'm sure it's you, without a doubt. We'll be right back with more here on Vegas Pulse, stories from back of the stage with me, Ron Garrett, and our guest, Frankie Munoz. Be right back. And we're back on Vegas Pulse, stories from back of the house. With me is the premier Johnny Mathis tribute artist in the country. His name is Frankie Munoz. He's a talented man. He's a band leader. He's a producer. He's a director. He dances. He does just about everything. But mostly he produces fabulous shows. Do you have any shows coming up that we can discuss right
Yes,
now that
we
people
always-
can buy some tickets?
Well, we don't have one. We were going to do one in April, but we pushed it back just a little bit to get more funding. But yes, we have many shows to do. We're looking to tour. We're looking to nationally tour and maybe internationally. I mean, the doors will open up everywhere, and we're there to accept it. When you have good music and you have an orchestra, doors are going to open because people want to hear beautiful music. You don't really hear good music when you hear music on the radio, but I'm the type.
Nothing like live music.
I'm the type of person that likes. I'm from the old generation. I like the beautiful Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis, Johnny Mathis, Tony Bennett. I live in that world. That's where my mental. I got a thing from YouTube. They told me that I'm the most listened to Johnny Mathis in the last 40 years because I hear him all the time to keep my voice tuned to him. So I love, good music.
You think that the audience that's attracted to the music you do and the names you just mentioned is beginning to disappear in many ways? How do we bring that kind of music to the younger generation who's up and coming now? You're still a young man. You're still relevant. You're dressed to the nines. One word, does somebody help you with your styles? You look great.
I help myself.
You do it yourself. Well, you're a self-made man, without a doubt. So what do you think about the younger generation that doesn't remember Frank Sinatra, doesn't remember Tony Bennett? Are you out to keep that alive so they get educated?
Exactly. I'm looking to, motivate a younger generation with beautiful instruments, vocal. I'm not looking for them to take the easy way out, but you have to work for what you want. A lot of things have died down with singers because they want to do other things, that might look simpler or easier. But it's not easy if you really want to be a great singer. I like great opera singers, great R&B singers, great pop singers. I don't just like somebody to just go on the stage and that's nice, but I need you to reach me. What can you do to reach me? Why am I here? To be entertained? Yeah, I want to entertain you. I want to show you a circus. I want to make it live for you. Yes, I'm the next Andrew Lloyd.
No elephants
I'm
in this
the next
circus.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
There you go.
I'm the next Barnum. What's his name? Barnum and Bailey. That's
P.T.
me.
P.T. Barnum.
P.T. Barnum. That's who
That was the guy.
That's who I want to
We're
be.
going to take another quick break. We'll be back with Frankie Munoz right after this. We're back on Vegas Pulse Stories. Vegas Pulse Stories from back of the house. I have a lot of back of the house stories. When I was at the Sahara as the marketing director and the entertainment director, every day I take a walk through the kitchen to the loading dock, to the receiving area, and say hello to everybody, to the housekeeping department, and make sure that they saw me on a regular basis. Somebody was running the joint. A lot of the casinos today are not like that. What are your experiences dealing with the casinos?
I don't really, unless I want to rent some space for them, I don't really
That's
deal
about
with
it.
them. I mean, there's lots of beautiful banquet halls here. You don't really, I mean, it's too expensive to go into a casino
So you
today.
go get a banquet hall.
Yeah.
You rent it, just like you were going to be a wedding.
Yes.
And, of course, that's fair prices. They're not as expensive as trying to four-wall the Venetian, which would cost you $12,000 just for the stagehands.
That's right.
A very strong union there, the
You
IATSE
can get a
union.
reasonable banquet hall for a few thousand.
Couple of thousand.
Well, the last one we had was over 15,000. But
You
we
pick
got
nice places.
this place you would want to die
Beautiful.
in. It was beyond beautiful, and everyone enjoyed it. It was expensive. It was over $15,000.
Oh.
But it included dinner and the whole shebang, everything. People serving you. It was just
So it's a catered dinner. I mean, the
Catered
banquet
din-
hall,
catered
they do that as
dinner.
part of their service.
Yeah, and we had a beautiful stage and beautiful music, beautiful entertainers, and you will never forget it.
Real quick, with a minute left to go, what's your future?
My future is to unite my community, to get the community to support the musicians so that they don't have to leave the country. We want to hire them, we want to put them in our orchestra, we want to tour with them, and we want to keep motivating them. We want to motivate the younger generation to become great musicians and other things. We encourage great dancers, great showgirls. We want to entertain you. That's what we want to do. We want you to feel the propensity of our entertainment, so you will never forget it.
You have a great story, Frankie. I'm glad you came on the show today. We appreciate it. We could do so much more. Just on your shirt, we could do a half hour, and your hat. But every time I see you, you look dressed to the nines. You're a dapper gentleman. You're very smart. I wish you the best of luck in everything you do, and I want to invite you back for another one-on-one on Vegas Pulse, stories from back of the stage, right here on Hey Vegas TV. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.